What if I told you Tom Cruise owns cars worth more than some blockbuster budgets, each with a headline that stunned even Hollywood insiders? Paparazzi, gearheads, and the press have chased him for years trying to spot these machines in the wild, but most never get close. So which 10 cars made his garage? Let's find out. Bugatti Veyron, a €1 million hypercar waiting outside a movie premiere, changes how people see a star. At the Mission Impossible 3 event in 2006, Tom Cruise's entrance halts the crowd because he arrives in a 2005 Bugatti Veyron, a machine so rare and extreme that even other celebrities stare. Bugatti limits production to just 450 units over 10 years, each carrying a monstrous 8.0-liter quad-turbo W16 with over 1,000 horsepower and a top speed beyond 250 miles per hour. The Veyron instantly becomes the gold standard for ultimate performance, and the price tag sits close to $1 million before options, while upkeep turns every service into a major event. Each tire replacement alone can cost more than most people's cars. But even perfect engineering has a sense of humor. On that red carpet, as cameras lock on Cruise and Katie Holmes, the passenger door refuses to open. He tries everything, tugging, jiggling, even glancing at the crowd, until after nearly 40 seconds the door gives in. Some insiders whisper that Bugatti's bosses quietly block him from buying again, afraid the viral clip damages their brand image, though nothing official confirms this. The car that should have been untouchable now carries a story about unpredictable moments, blending perfection with a human flaw. And that's how the Veyron in Cruise's garage gains a second life, as the supercar everyone remembers for a moment of real-life suspense. Now, the setting shifts to classic Americana with chrome, comfort, and a much slower pace. 1949 Buick Roadmaster. Leather creaks, chrome flashes in the sunlight, and every mile feels like time travel inside the 1949 Buick Roadmaster from Rain Man. Cruise's connection with this car goes beyond the screen, where he and Dustin Hoffman transform a cross-country road trip into movie legend. Buick builds only a little over 9,000 Roadmaster convertibles in 1949, and each one looks built for endless highways and soft summer evenings. The straight 8 Fireball engine with about 150 horsepower isn't made for speed. It's made for the kind of calm, steady travel that makes memories. During filming, the Roadmaster becomes more than a prop. Cruise spends hours inside, learning its quirks and feeling its weight as the story unfolds. While the studio keeps the movie cars, Cruise later tracks down a vintage Buick Roadmaster for his own collection, sealing a connection to a film that shifts his career into serious drama. When a screen-used Roadmaster later auctions for well over $300,000, that number doesn't just reflect rarity, it measures the emotional power of movie history. A machine built to glide through the post-war boom now anchors Cruise's garage with nostalgia, pride, and a reminder that not every icon measures success in horsepower. From this gentle classic, we jump straight into chaos with a Porsche that blurs the line between script and accident. 1979 Porsche 928. A sports car reversing into its own star. That never makes the script, but it becomes Cruise's real-life story in Risky Business. The silver 1979 Porsche 928, with its shark-like shape and V8 power, shares the spotlight in a movie that pushes Cruise from up-and-coming to instant icon. One infamous scene, the hero sliding across the living room in socks and sunglasses, gets all the memes. But the 928's role is bigger and far riskier. During a tense filming day, one of several 928s used on set slips out of gear, hits Cruise, and knocks him off his feet. That shot stays in the final cut, making Joel's panic feel brutally real. Fast forward to a collector auction decades later, and one of the Risky Business hero cars hammers for around $1.98 million, an outrageous figure for a model that usually trades much lower. The true value sits in its backstory, a car that survives joyrides, a sinking at the lake, and one very famous on-screen accident. Cruise prefers newer cars in his own garage, yet the 928's legend lives on. Its oddball design, strong V8, and movie stardom prove that the right moment can turn an underdog into a forever classic. With that close call in mind, Cruise's love for Porsche continues, but the next chapter brings a car that marks the end of an era. Porsche 993. Sometimes the rarest cars hide their magic in simplicity, and Porsche fans whisper about one model above all, the 993. As Porsche's last air-cooled 911 built from 1994 to 1998, this car stands for everything purists crave: purity, mechanical feel, and the rawest driving experience before electronics take over. Less than 70,000 993s leave the factory worldwide, a tiny number compared to later 911s, which instantly makes each one a precious find. Cruise adds a 993 to his collection, drawn by the legend as much as the engineering. Depending on the model, the flat-six engine produces between 272 and 408 horsepower, while the new multi-link rear suspension finally tames the 911's tail-happy habits without losing its signature character. Turbo and RS versions shoot past six-figure values now, but every 993 wins praise for slim body lines and a gearbox that feels connected straight to your hands. Collectors debate every detail: the way the exhaust note sharpens over 5,000 RPM, the metallic thunk of the doors, the analog feel that's almost extinct today. For Cruise, the 993 isn't just a car. It's a bridge between old-school rebellion and modern precision. That careful balance keeps this Porsche at the center of any real driver's wish list. Leaving behind the German precision, Cruise reaches for raw American style. Enter a Chevy as iconic as the man himself. 1958 Chevrolet Corvette C1. Quad headlights slice the darkness, chrome flashes under neon signs, and suddenly you're in the world of the 1958 Chevrolet Corvette C1. Cruise's silver blue Corvette doesn't shout. It draws eyes with its curves and the boldness of 50s American design. Only about 9,000 roll off the line that year, all convertibles, and the fake hood louvers got both laughs and love from fans. The Corvette's original 283 cubic inch V8 could push out up to 290 horsepower with fuel injection, but whispers from car circles suggest Cruise's machine now hides a modern LS3 engine, giving it around 430 horsepower and a whole new lease on speed. Cruise picks up this classic during his relationship with Katie Holmes, buying from a specialist in Ohio. That move echoes the Corvette's own story. Built as America's answer to Europe's sports cars, now a piece of Americana living in a Hollywood superstar's garage. The C1 transforms from a status symbol into a living connection between two worlds: old school Detroit flair and global movie royalty. And as this elegant icon gleams under the garage lights, a different beast roars into focus. Built for noise, smoke, and speed. 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS. Forget about polished chrome. Here, it's all about tire marks and thunder. The 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS, known for its muscular lines and wild engine, brings a different kind of energy to Cruise's collection. He owns the car before filming Jack Reacher, then brings it onto the set for some of the movie's most dangerous driving scenes. This isn't just acting, it's Cruise pushing Detroit iron to its limits. In 1970, the top Chevelle SS comes with the legendary LS6 454 Cube V8, cranking out a factory-rated 450 horsepower and about 500 pound-foot of torque. Numbers that make it one of the strongest street machines of its era. Chevrolet produces tens of thousands of Chevelles in the muscle car glory years, but original SS models with big blocks now count as rare treasures. Surviving examples get snapped up by collectors who want a piece of real American bravado. For Cruise, the Chevelle stands for freedom, raw power, and a willingness to flirt with danger. It's not just about looking tough. Driving this machine demands skill, guts, and a love for cars that bite back. And that's why after the Chevelle, Cruise's story jumps across the ocean to a race car that tests his limits in a totally new way. Nissan 300ZX SCCA race car. Under the lights, most people expect Tom Cruise to act. Instead, he signs up for real danger on the racetrack. In 1987, before Days of Thunder hits theaters, Cruise spends a season driving a Nissan 300ZX in SCCA showroom stock races under the guidance of Paul Newman and his Newman Sharp racing team. His 1984 300ZX, packing a tuned 3.0-liter V6, becomes his ticket into a world where fame means nothing and skill is everything. Across 16 starts, Cruise manages 4 wins, shocking the racing world and silencing critics who expect a celebrity tourist. The team teases him, calling SCCA the See Cruise Crash Again Club, since he attacks every turn like it's the movie's final scene. When the car disappears after its racing days, fans think the story ends. But years later, enthusiasts track it down in a scrapyard, restore it, and eventually sell it at auction for a 6-figure sum. This battered Nissan does more than just race. It changes how Cruise sees himself and prepares him for future roles where precision matters. The lesson? Outrunning your reputation sometimes means risking everything, even in front of a much smaller crowd. From racetrack grit, the spotlight spins back to Hollywood flash, with a Mustang that trades subtlety for supercharged muscle. Saleen Mustang S281. When a Ford Mustang rolls out of the Saleen shop, it's no longer just a pony car. It's a certified scene stealer. Cruise picks up the Saleen Mustang S281, a heavily reworked version of Ford's 5th Gen GT. Saleen produces just over 1,300 of these custom Mustangs in 2005, a blink compared to Ford's hundreds of thousands. That rare badge alone draws collectors. Saleen bolts on a fierce body kit, drops the suspension, and tunes the 4.6-liter V8 for more power. 325 horsepower for the base, with supercharged models reaching up to 465. The S281 bristles with racing parts and hand-finished touches that set it apart from the crowd. For Cruise, who flies jets and dives off buildings for a living, the Saleen Mustang fits right in, raw, loud, and always ready for the next challenge. Even more interesting, this is one of the most relatable cars in his garage. Fans imagine themselves behind the wheel, sharing something with the biggest star on Earth. While other cars in his collection feel unreachable, the S281 Mustang carries a special kind of magnetism. Yet, before Cruise ever drove a Mustang, his story began behind the wheel of something much humbler, one that few would even recognize today. 1976 Dodge Colt. Every hero's journey starts with a leap, and Cruise's first real leap costs $925, the price he pays for a used 1976 Dodge Colt. High school days in Kentucky look very different from Hollywood premieres. Cruise piles his belongings into the little Japanese coupe, heads for New York, and hopes the car outlasts his big dreams. Powered by a small 4-cylinder with just 83 to 100 horsepower, the Colt offers a simple rear-wheel drive and a manual gearbox. Nothing fancy, but enough to leave home and chase something bigger. Dodge brings the Colt to America as a rebadged Mitsubishi, marketing it to budget-minded buyers with a sticker price barely over $2,000. Most live hard lives and disappear into junkyard, which makes survivors rare today. That scarcity adds emotional weight to Cruise's memory. A humble start, proving that risk and hope often sit on skinny tires. In his garage, the Dodge Colt stands out less for its looks and more for what it represents. A reminder that every icon once rolled the dice with everything on the line. After all, million-dollar supercars might turn heads, but a $900 beater carries the beginning of a legend. The next step in Cruise's automotive adventure transforms from humble to outrageous. A fortress on wheels designed to handle anything fame can throw at it. Custom Ford Excursion SUV. Privacy, power, and mystery all blend inside Tom Cruise's custom Ford Excursion. a vehicle that redefines one of one. Built on the bones of Ford's massive Super Duty trucks, the Excursion towers over most SUVs, but Cruises goes further. Former Scientology staffer John Brousseau spends months building a special version, a blacked-out fortress with ballistic roof, luxury eucalyptus burl woodwork, and even a hidden compartment containing a pen made from the same tree as the interior trim. Rumors claim the wood comes from a tree at Scientology's international base, weaving spiritual meaning into a vehicle already packed with Hollywood secrets. Cruise and Katie Holmes used the Excursion to escape paparazzi and keep their daughter Suri safe during a wild period of media frenzy. Paparazzi shots show the SUV everywhere during those years, always surrounded by security and curiosity. On paper, Excursions sell in decent numbers, but no other example carries this story: secret compartments, spiritual wood, and the fingerprints of the world's most famous movie star. As the biggest, most mysterious ride in his fleet, this armored giant closes the circle. One man, 10 cars, and a lifetime of history, risk, and speed. The secrets you've just seen are only the beginning. Every car has its own untold story, and there's always another twist ahead. Dive into the next video because the ride never stops here.